So one fine afternoon, I found myself sitting with a half-filled jar of mango pickle. It wasn't just any pickle. It was the last batch my mother-in-law had prepared. It was very special to me. I looked at the jar and I noticed that it was about to get over. And when I looked at it, I realized that it wasn't just jar, it's a pickle, it's a memory, it's a flavor, it's a chapter, which is never going to come back so easily. And isn't that how life moves? We, you know, in the same way, we lose people. We don't lose them just like that. We lose them in sips, in flavors, in bites, in different kinds of moments. And in that moment, I realized that this is not just a pickle jar. It has become an echo. Its soft tang and sharp heat, it reminded me that maybe it is a symbol of sustainability, ancestral wisdom, and of having less yet feeling more. In that moment, I also realized that this pickle jar, it is whispering in my ears. It is whispering so loud about sustainability, about accumulation, that I understood that even small things can whisper very loudly. It all depends on us whether we want to hear it or not. These are the whispers which are going to echo in the future. And I strongly feel that this is what should echo tomorrow, this art of preserving emotions in everyday things. And when I think about my ancestors, when I think about my family members, I realize that our ancestors, they valued and they acquired only those things which truly matter, unlike us. They rewore, reimagined, they just reused everything. Old clothes passed on from one generation to another generation. Old books were passed on like heirlooms. Old saris, cotton saris, were used like kitchen towels. There was nothing, even each and every small thing, it mattered. Nobody said this is old, this is new. Everything mattered, everything was reused, and everything was automatically recycled, right? But obviously, today's scenario has changed completely. So my mummy ji, my mother-in-law, she never used the word minimalism. She never spoke about sustainability. But I feel she lived it. This is the biggest lesson, which I learned from my mummy ji, and that is we should stop outsourcing emotions. We should stop outsourcing traditions to convenience. Just, think about Indian festivals. I remember I used to have arguments with her at some point of time that, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And now, since she's gone, I realize that a lot of things have gone with her. And yes, just for the sake of convenience, we let a lot of things just go. But what about the future? What are we going to pass on? I don't think we'll have much to pass on. And I strongly feel, when it comes to echoes of tomorrow, we can build tomorrow. Definitely we can build a very good tomorrow. But then we can build things on the basis of what we inherit. And when we do not value what we are inheriting, our foundation is going to go weak. So our idea of richness is also broken. It is royally broken. Now, how do I say this? See, these days, richness means accumulation. But actually, richness is awareness. It is not accumulation. We think the more we have, the richer we are going to feel. But in reality, the more aware we are about things, the richer we are going to be. Because once we become aware, we'll become selective. We'll not keep on accumulating things. When it comes to fast fashion, when it comes to processed products in the market, we are living in such a fast world that we think, let's just acquire everything. And once we start acquiring, we feel that, there is no space in the house, there's no space in the cupboard. So in this whole process of buying things, acquiring things, we are not just exhausting the planet, we are actually exhausting ourselves. We are not just exhausting our own resources, we are compromising with our own peace. We don't have time to organize things these days. We think, oh, my cupboard doesn't have enough space. Oh, my house is too small. Why do we feel that? Because we keep on acquiring things. And once this process starts, it's very difficult to stop. It is high time that we learn this thing from our ancestors, to stop acquiring things which we do not need. Minimalism, sustainability, these have just become trending words. In fact, when I think about sustainability, sometimes I feel it has been repackaged and resold. And even those products, they go to the landfills. You can have a look at the picture. What is the condition of our planet? When it comes to individuality, everybody is running in a mad race. Look at us. We see any trend on social media and we think this is the perfect thing to do. Be it, definition of success. We have lost our own personal touch, our own flavor. There is, whatever trend is going on, we think that is perfect for us. But we are not products of a machine. We are human beings. We have to have that personal touch, that uniqueness in our personality. And that is getting lost because of aspirational sameness which is being sold to us. So let's stop running after aspirational sameness. Let's think how our ancestors used to live, how simple their life was. Mourning a way of life. So when I think about my mummy ji, I think she was a template of simplicity. I loved her a lot. Not the kind of love you write in poems, but it was very different. There were moments of laughter, yet there were moments of irritation. There were moments when I longed for my own personal space. There were moments when I thought that, I need freedom from her rituals and routines. Why do I have to, do so many things at one point of time? And now, when she's not there, when there is no clinking of bangles in the kitchen, when the hallway is empty, when there's nobody to call out my name in my own house, I feel that our idea and definition of space is hollow. It is absolutely hollow. We have just defined space in a very wrong way. We have not understood it right. Many people say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yes, it does. But then, must we always wait for absence to feel the importance of presence? I don't think so. Why do we value people more once they are gone? I am making this mistake, and I request all of you to not make this mistake. It's very easy to miss people when they are gone, to say, I wish I could have done that. But when people are around you, you don't value. This is what has happened with me. And, I remember the kind of flavors, festivals, and traditions she introduced in the family. At one point of time, I felt, oh, this is way too much. But now I feel, if I don't remember anything, what will I pass on? I don't have much to pass on to the next generation. I don't remember much of the things because most of the things I did not do with a lot of interest. And this is how the culture and traditions are getting lost. And when the foundation itself becomes weak, what is going to echo tomorrow? By default, you see, if you look at them, they practice sustainability and minimalism. They did not know about these terms. Be it preparing food at home, be it shopping, be it anything. Everything was easy and simplified. And our generation has complicated everything. And still, we don't have mental clarity. Still, we are most of the times quite confused. So what are we going to echo tomorrow? Okay, when a person leaves, what do they take away? I realize that when a person leaves, they take away a part of their presence. And obviously, a part of our past. And most important, a part of our children's future. Because in future, they won't be there to contribute anything. And the only thing which is left will be some faded memories in the background, which will keep on fading each day. Now, our idea of processing grief is quite different in comparison to how our ancestors used to process grief. We have got ChatGPT, we have Google to answer all our questions. These days, people even take relationship advice from ChatGPT. But then back then, they did not have such options. They sat with grief. They sat with longing. They sat with joy. They processed everything on their own. Because grief doesn't want to be fixed. It wants to be witnessed. We need to process our emotions and we outsource our emotions. We try and outpace grief. That let me not just face it. We binge watch to escape our own minds because sometimes we don't want to face the reality. We intentionally keep ourselves over busy so that we don't have to think about serious matters in life. But that's how life doesn't work. So it is important to, there's another thing which I have understood in this whole process of losing my mummy ji, and that is, yes, sometimes we lose people to death, and many a times we lose people to life as well. In distances, in silences, in forgetting. But the lesson which I have learned is, it is important to preserve every emotion which once nourished us, which once made us happy. Because obviously, the lost time is never going to come back. but at least you can have neutral and positive emotions for your future rather than having any kind of negative emotion. Okay, it is important to pass on books, not just bookmarks, to the future generation. It is important to pass on values, not just valuables. It is important to pass on traditions, not just trends, which keep on changing. Earlier, I used to think the trends keep on changing every 6 months, but I think now the trends can change every 6 seconds. There's no line, there is no time duration. So change is happening at a very fast pace. But we don't need to change so fast, especially as far as our emotions are concerned, as far as our personality is concerned. Sometimes it is important to pause and think in which direction we are moving. Only then we can take better decisions in life. Okay, so tomorrow is something I learned that we don't, people say you create your own tomorrow, you create your own future. Definitely we do that. But sometimes what we inherit decides what kind of future we are going to create. These days we have AI for so many things. But do you think AI can decide how the pickle is going to taste, when I add mustard seeds to the oil, before the oil warms or after it? AI is not going to decide. AI will not taste, or AI will not be able to create the same flavor of pickle which the trembling hands can prepare. Right? It is not in the it is not in the hands of AI. It is in our hands, how much value we give to these emotions. When it comes to law of accumulation, now this is one of my favorite laws, and I wasn't taught this in school or college, but I read it somewhere and I really loved it, and I think it can be applied everywhere. The law of accumulation says that everything you do has one side. That means nothing is neutral. Every decision you make, every gesture you make, every habit you have on a daily basis, it has a result, it has a side which you choose. And once you start thinking about law of accumulation, you will know that every moment you're making a decision, maybe while ordering something online, maybe while eating something, maybe before throwing something, maybe before folding an old sari and thinking, oh, this belongs to my grandmother, whether I should keep it or throw it or recycle it. Every decision related to every article which is around you will lead to law of accumulation. So think about law of accumulation. Think each second how you're contributing to law of accumulation. What kind of decisions you're making. Is it adding something which will echo better in future, or you're just going on the wrong side? So there are several examples which pertain to law of accumulation. One of the examples could be a father who avoids taking work calls while having dinner with his family. Is not just avoiding a call. He is actually laying a tradition in the family. A child who saves a wrapping paper under the mattress. I'm sure many of you will know what I'm talking about. When a child saves a wrapping paper and keeps it under the mattress and makes something out of it at the time of Diwali, maybe a lantern, is not just doing a craft activity. He or she is creating a memory for life. This is what recycling is all about. This is what personal touch is all about. This is how we can create a better tomorrow. Now, we think that big changes come in cinematic type. We will have big changes, big transformations. There's nothing called big in life. The true transformation comes in mundane. It comes in little moments of life. We know what is compounding. It's very similar to law of accumulation. Every second, every decision you make will lead to a transformation, which you will realize in the end. Students can understand it very well if they decide to study something daily. Obviously, at the end of the semester, they will know with their result what contribution those minutes or seconds made to their result. This is what law of accumulation is all about. It does not just apply when it comes to sustainability. It applies everywhere. It applies in saving money. It applies in saving emotions, in preserving emotions, in valuing emotions. So today's generation is actually seduced by speed and sedated by screens. There is no ending. There is no ending to this. We live in smaller families in bigger houses, but we are more distant than ever. We can connect with people across the globe, but sometimes we don't feel connected to people across the room. That's because we are running in this race of, sometimes I would say, we are running in this race of being everywhere. But again, you have to remember who you are and what you like, rather than running after, digital validations, external validations. Our ancestors never had these options. They were so content. They were so happy. They could just, sit in the garden and enjoy their lunch. But these days, we need everything fancy so that we can post it, so that we can post it on social media. We don't live for ourselves. We live to exhibit. We don't live to express. We live to impress. And that is the worst we can do to ourselves. Okay, so it's time to become the deliberate artist of our life. Just think of it like this, that you are a painter and you have a brush in your hand. And every day you are making brush strokes, just one stroke every day. And we think, oh, this is a pastel color. It will not have any major impact. What am I going to paint with it? It's such a light color. But every stroke in the end will lead to a portrait. And it is important that we create a beautiful portrait in the end. This is what the echo should be for tomorrow. Your AI can actually, yes, as far as students are concerned, they'll say, wow, AI can design my resume. It can create my resume. But can it give essence to your resume? Can it give personality to your resume? No. Only you can do that. AI can decide my next outfit, what I'm going to wear. But only I can add value to it. So it's very easy to be dependent on these things. But it can be dangerous. You have to use your own emotion as well as brain when you are using these things, so that you don't lose your own touch and character in the process. When it comes to AI, it's very easy. People say tomorrow this is going to be the weather. Why do we think only till weather? What about the kind of choices we are making today which will result to climate of tomorrow? Our choices will actually be responsible for tomorrow's climate. But we think only till the weather, and that is the biggest mistake we are making. So yes, AI can predict, AI can solve a lot of problems. It can store your pictures, it can take care of your memories, but your personal touch, your human emotions, it cannot tackle that. You need to tackle that. And that is what our ancestors did really well. Conscious accumulation is actually a gift, I would say. Accumulation, we know that, okay, each and every moment we must make very sensible decisions. But what is conscious accumulation? To be in the moment. To be very conscious about each and every decision. It is very easy to give gyan to people, but it is difficult to implement that gyan at every point of time. That becomes difficult, that becomes a challenge. So it is high time that we preserve all the memories, all the emotions, all the customs and traditions, because that is what real sustainability and minimalism was all about. In a volt of time, with those trembling hands, because those hands knew what really mattered in life. And now it is our responsibility to create that beautiful future. Thank you.